now call this meeting to order. It's 6:38 and I will take a roll call. So if you're present, Paul Letourneau,
Present.
Christy Proctor,
Present.
Roger Trahan,
Present.
Bob Berger,
Present.
Alexis Henry, present, and Catherine, at this point, hopefully she'll join us later. Do you want me to pull up? I should be able to share my screen and show the agenda. Is that a helpful thing to do? Or unless you all have it in front of you, but you know what?
I mean, I have it in front of me. What would be helpful is if you made someone a co-host, should you get booted?
Yes, okay. Wait a minute, why is this not, let's see. I can do that. Let me close this right now. How about Catherine? How about if I make you Christy, how about if I make you co-host?
Okay.
But it doesn't look like I have those. I don't have make host there. Do you want to make there? I just think
Okay,
I
I'm
made
the
you
host
Christy.
now. So actually, I'm going to see if I can make you the co-host.
Okay. Because it didn't look, I did
It's
click on
okay.
you. Yeah.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm used to this stuff. So here we go. And it won't. It only lets you have one host, no co-host. So you're right, Alexis.
Okay.
So, okay.
All right. Let me, I'm going to open the host you're the host now, Christy.
No, I'm going to
Christy.
go back. I'm going
Okay.
to go back and make you the host.
Host is disabled participant. Okay. All right.
I think I may also have logged in. It says Beth is currently host, meaning whoever was there. Reclaiming host may disrupt breakout rooms, holds the screen share. And there's a blue thing that says reclaim host, which seems to suggest that I have some type of host privileges up there.
Do you have host privileges? I'm going to see if I can share my screen. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just having Alexis being the host, not Roger, but later I may ask for it so that I can share the meeting minutes from April.
I don't think you need to be a co-host to do that. I think the host has to just enable share screens to others.
I don't want that. Sorry.
That should work. But you know, with this license, it's a little different sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
in the meantime.
Let's see if I can now share my screen. Come on, you. Here. Okay. Can everybody see
Yes.
my screen? Okay. Here's our agenda. Because I realized after I logged on that I hadn't printed out a copy of the agenda in my hand and I couldn't see it myself.
Can you make it bigger?
I probably can make it bigger, yes. How's that?
A little more. That's good. I think the TV audience can see that now.
Okay. All right. So announcements. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I think this, is one of the things that, and this is on me and I haven't done anything about it yet. If we end up doing kind of a banner thing on our page on the website, kind of thing that we might want to note. I don't know if there are any discussion about this. Anybody? Okay. Any other announcements? I don't have any, but.
I don't know if this, yeah, I'll mention something that I don't think is under either old business or new business, but town meeting was last night. And thank you, Mr. Berger, for arranging for the ASL interpreters. And seems to have gone well. There were two of them who alternated back and forth and without any interference where they were standing and then that area being taped off.
Yeah, I also think it went well. They had a request for next time they do this meeting is they want their own speaker. They had a hard time hearing what was going on because the speaker was towards the moderator and it just, they were just having a difficult time trying to hear what they were translating. Matthew did a great job. He was our translator the first time, so we have a repeat translator. So they're very comfortable coming to Grafton now.
Awesome.
Great.
Can I
Great.
make a request? For the next,
Yes.
for the next town meeting, I would like to go, but I don't have transportation. So. Anyway, somebody put that in their bonnet for the next time.
I'll drive you, Paul.
You're a wonderful human being.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You
know,
just have to stop at Swirls and Scoops on the way home and buy him an ice cream cone.
there you go.
Right.
Well, it was past 9 o'clock, so
Yes.
Only
Oh,
if
no.
he behaves.
only if he behaves, yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad that that worked out.
Yeah, it worked out. I think it worked out perfect.
Great. So when they say they want their own speaker,
There's monitors on the stage now.
yeah,
So one monitor is pointed towards the moderator, the other
Mhm.
one is pointed towards the select board. And when you're on the stage, you can't hear anything really coming out of that monitor. You can hear a little bit, so we need a third monitor.
oh, you mean like
In front of
like a
them.
speaker, like a
Yes.
stereo
Yes.
speaker?
I'm
Okay.
I'm talking stage talk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that makes total sense.
And I never thought of it. And I'm glad I put up the tape because I didn't want anybody walking in front of them because last time that happened and they were not happy because it's kind of an insult walking in front of the
Yeah, you can't.
translator because you're right in their view.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good. Good work on that.
Thank you.
Okay, if there are no other announcements, we can move on to external correspondence. I don't know if all of you got this, but we had, we were informed, I'm gonna page down to it. This, notice for the application for a variance from the, MAABB from the Our Lady of Hope Parish. Did you all see this?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes.
You know, that was wrong. Go back up
okay,
and it's not ABB. It's
it's,
the architectural
It's
access
it's
board. It's
AAB.
AAB. That's interesting. I
Right.
just caught that.
right, it's, so I'm not really, I mean, we're informed about it. Actually, when I read this again, I was a little confused about what they were requesting the variance for.
Well, I can tell you why.
Okay, so Bob, do you want to give us a little bit? I mean, it sounds like they were adjusting a platform. And it says the existing platform is not currently accessible. It was unclear to me whether the change was to make the platform accessible or the platform will still not be accessible. So when I read this again, I was a little confused about it. But Bob,
Platform that they have is to I'm gonna call it a stage, to the left of
The
the
altar?
stage. The altar. Gotta remember, I'm from the other side. Is from the left of the altar, which has a 6-inch step.
uh-huh,
What they want is they want to bring it up to the altar level, which is to raise it up another 10 inches. So that would be 16 inches. And when they do that, they need to make it handicap accessible. And
Okay.
what they're saying is we don't want to make it handicap accessible. We're looking for a variance so we don't have to make it handicap accessible. That's
are they
what
gonna
they're,
put some steps in it? I mean, 16 inches is a big,
no, they're gonna access it from the steps on the front of the altar.
Okay.
Now you're on the altar and you can walk right up to the podium.
okay,
But the problem that we have and keep on scrolling,
Yeah,
keep on going,
yeah.
keep on going. Somewhere we were supposed to be notified, and I don't think it was signed off that we were notified.
Well, when I looked at this, it,
Right there.
right.
So that's the building
I was-
department. Tracy
Yes.
Shockey's the building department.
Right, so I thought that the notification was that we received the email, so I was a little confused about whether we actually had to sign this.
No, but Raymond Mead he needs to fill that information out. So he
Oh.
needs to say, I emailed the commission. And then he needs to say that he delivered or mailed or whatever to the Independent Living Center.
Okay.
Those are blank, so I think it went all the way to Boston, and I think it came all the way back, and they asked him to finish this.
Oh, okay, all right,
So
well,
I think that they're still in limbo until Mr. Mead fills this information out, and then it goes back.
okay, all right, because this is the only notice that we've gotten. Rogers,
Yeah, I had a question. In other situations, excuse me, I can't speak to, well, the Center for Living and Working, which is the Independent Living Center. And someone like Mike Kennedy or someone in his office would be the recipient of that as a third recipient, but the local Commission on Disability, however named, I will say that we have received things in the past from AAB, but I'm wondering if the MOD, I think it might even be the MOD, still, I don't think has, this is like 3 years post facto, 4 years after the fact, has updated their website to reflect that Grafton has an accessibility advisory commission. So I'm thinking perhaps the left hand may not know what the right hand is doing, and that AAB is relying on their own internal web documents to see whether there is even a recipient commission on disability for Grafton. I'm not saying that's acceptable, but I'm thinking that's plausible, that that's why we may not have received it. In other words, we're not really, we should be receiving that directly, not indirectly from Mr. Mead, right?
We should be receiving it, I think, from Mr. Mead.
Okay. Why not the
Because-
AAB?
Well,
We-
because they want a complete packet. And this is part of his packet that Mr.
Yeah.
Mead is submitting.
Oh,
So I think what I'll do is I'll just reach out to Mr. Mead tomorrow and just have a
Okay.
fast conversation with
okay,
him. And
All right,
ask him
thank you.
if he wants to submit it to the committee, does anybody here have a problem with him submitting it to me and then I mail it over to the committee?
I have no problem with that.
No, that's fine.
that sounds good. Should we, though, be in contact with MOD to get us listed? Get Grafton listed as having a commission on disability?
I've made numerous requests and it seems to be always a staffing issue. Now, this is 4 years after the fact. 4.5 years.
So in section 2 of this form, we are the local committee
are.
on this,
However named.
but it's not listed then.
Not
Well,
not within MOD, but that's MOD is not the person who would have sent it out. I'm saying it's, in
Mhm.
my opinion, it's plausible that the AAB is their list to double
Oh.
check whether there is even a recipient commission in Grafton. They may be using the MOD's list of active disability or accessibility advisory commissions as the basis to see whether there is even a commission in Grafton.
Sorry, something jumped on my screen, so I don't, hopefully you are all still seeing this document from Our Lady of Hope. So, Bob, you're going to reach out to Ray Mead and see if there's an updated,
No, I'm just gonna,
Yep.
I'm just gonna suggest to him if he wants to drop this off Thursday or Friday to the building department. I am representing, I can represent the commission,
Okay,
and he can write, method of service in hand and put my name down.
okay,
Good.
that
Awesome.
sounds good.
And then, in doing so, you have Mike Kennedy's, email, correct, Bob?
Somewhere.
Somewhere, all right,
Yeah, let me look at my phone.
yeah, and so,
He can email it to him.
yeah, and if you could give that to Ray, then that, kill two birds with one stone.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other discussion? Any discussion about what they're actually asking the variance for?
Yeah, I already described that they're gonna.
Right,
take-
right. I mean, any concerns, do we have any comment, concerns, anything?
Under the building department, they're looking for a building permit. I can't give them a building permit because I have to conform to CMR 521.
Okay.
And that means that any new construction has to be accessible.
Hmm.
This is not accessible. The only way they're gonna
Right.
get a building permit is if they get that variance.
Okay,
So now this board can give comments or not give comments. Do you think that the variance is justified? Or do you support the variance? Because I'm the building department, I'm gonna not comment.
okay.
And I'm a member of Our Lady of Hope Parish,
Hmm.
and so I would,
So am
when-
I.
So what do we do? You know,
So do you know what they're talking about, and you can visualize what the change they're asking to make and whether or not this would create an issue?
and I couldn't, the schematic was too small for me to
Yeah.
visualize. And, so I don't know.
I mean, do
But-
we have any concerns that somehow this is, going to make, again, I've never been in.
Well, I
Gotcha.
think regardless of what parish or church or religious institution someone goes to services, these altars, and I'll just speak to the Catholic Church, but these altars, there are many different dimensions of an altar, all of which contain steps at some
Mhm.
different point.
Right,
And so, 521 does require accessibility. It'll only make a small portion of that entire footprint accessible, but that's not the point. I guess 521 says even if it's going to make a small portion accessible, it still needs to be accessible. Even if the other aspects of the altar have steps in different areas.
So in essence, the entire thing should be accessible?
I mean, just one could argue that one should do a self-eval of the whole building and retrofit everything that can be retrofitted, notwithstanding this particular project.
Yeah, but they don't trigger that threshold.
No, I'm saying on a voluntary basis.
Oh, of course.
you
And
know?
you do have some churches and temples that have stairs that go up to the, what did you call it again? Altar?
altar.
Altar.
Okay. And they have a ramp on the sides. This particular church does not have that.
So it has no ramp to the altar,
No,
is that it?
yeah.
So a priest who needed to, so from an employee perspective, I'm just going to that, like if I were a priest who needed needed a ramp, I would not be able to serve mass from that altar. Am I getting that right?
Yes.
But what you're doing right now is you're mixing ADA with AAB.
Okay,
Because ADA talks about the public. No,
Right.
AAB, excuse me, AAB talks about the public.
public accommodation. So it does not
ADA
prevent a parishioner
Hold
from.
on, the priest, let's just simplify it. The priest is the employee.
right,
Yes.
So then if only employees are allowed there, then AAB would not be triggered.
okay,
But our argument, and I'm not having an argument, but our justification is that altar is open up to the public. Because when there's a funeral, when there's a wedding, they invite the public up to speak in both funerals and in weddings. So that's where it kind of triggers AAB.
right, so.
Right. And altar
routine
service.
use-
Yeah.
Routine use, like parishioners going to communion, you don't go up to the altar. Right?
I have
But
no,
but
Well,
serving,
no, I'm
serving,
asking, well, Roger and Paul, you go to that church, right? So,
no, but it's an altar server
There's
or
always a server.
or
Yeah.
elector or, elector or
a
something like that.
cantor, one of,
And so the usual and customary way to do it would be from the aisle. And so you would be facing steps. Technically speaking, there's the sacristy, which is a room off to the left where all the garments and vestals are kept.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
that, but still, even that, to get to that room, it's inaccessible because on the other side from the lobby, there's stairs. So,
Mhm.
yeah, there's
Right.
no way other than to be beamed down to navigate the altar right now because there is not a ramp.
So it really, from a public accommodation perspective, am I getting this right? Then, there would be reasons why a non-employee public, a parishioner or someone who is at the church might want to go to the altar, might need access to the altar.
absolutely.
So do we want a ramp? Do we want to say whether they should have a ramp?
What I think we should do is just receive the application
Mhm.
and let the board in Boston make their determination.
Mhm.
I think that would be the prudent thing to do.
In situations like this, though, or others, have we weighed in on one of these documents? I don't recall. On one of these applications, have we weighed in as part of the application
I think you have with the church on the common,
because they were making,
the sidewalk,
The Baptist church or the
right,
congregational?
congregational.
Right.
8 Grafton Common, or
was
the
it the
one
unit,
that's right next to 1 Grafton Common.
or, yeah, the Unitarian Universalist Society,
Right.
Grafton and Upton.
Oh, yes.
I think you did, I think this board did make comments.
But was it concurrent with the application or was it after a denial? Do you know?
No.
Right. But still, if we haven't been technically served, even though we're aware of this document, are we not in a position to comment regardless?
I think if this board wished to comment, you could comment because it's a public record.
Uh-huh.
Should
But
we
but we
wait
can-
for the official notification that,
But as Roger said, the item was so small that it was hard to determine what they were actually going for.
That's
So
not
we
true.
would need,
No, that's not true.
oh,
That's just not true because I described what they're doing. They're taking the altar, that little platform on the left-hand side,
yeah,
it's 6 inches, has a 6-inch step right now, and they want to raise it to 16 inches, so it's the same level as the altar.
Oh, okay.
That's what they're trying to do.
but in so doing, it wouldn't make it more accessible then.
No, it doesn't matter. A 1-inch step versus a 16-inch step is still the same step.
Right.
so just from a process perspective, Bob, if the commission wanted to make a comment, should we wait until we get the updated document?
You could, I think what is going to happen is there's going to be a hearing and there's gonna be notice of the hearing. And at
Mhm.
that point, that's when you can have a hearing number. And then you could comment on and reference the hearing number.
Okay. Will we get notified of that?
I will get notified as the ADA and as the inspector of buildings.
Okay. So why don't we wait for that? Does that make sense?
Sure. And I think the commission and the living center will also be notified.
Right.
Oh, good.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So for now, we're not going to take any action. We'll wait until we get notified.
So wait and see.
Wait and see.
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to page back up to the agenda.
Now let's see if we can share the screen.
Can you not see it? I thought I
No,
was
no,
sharing.
no. We're
Oh,
doing minutes.
okay. All right. Sorry. Here, let me stop and let me start again. Okay.
Ah,
How about now?
No, we're good, but we're gonna do the minutes, so now, and you're muted.
I'm muted?
No.
No,
there
I'm
you go.
muted.
No,
If you can,
Chris.
if you can stop the share, please, and then I'll share the minutes.
Yes. Good. Okay.
Okay, here we go.
And you're going to edit, right? Because what I have is a PDF.
So what you need to do is enable me to
Let's
share,
see.
screen share.
No, I don't have that as an option. Let me try again. Let's see. I'm going to make you a host.
Okay,
So we can't have co-hosts. This is annoying.
okay, here we
So
go.
now you're the host, Christy. You can
Yep.
share, and then you're going to have to give me host back.
I'll be quick.
Okay.
So what we have here are the April 9th minutes. I'll go up to the top. I apologize. I had been scrolling down. So this was our meeting where Roger, thankfully, thank you, Roger stepped in
You're welcome.
and took over the meeting for the evening. And then we voted Alexis in. Okay, so we nominated Alexis and Alexis said yes. And in the meantime, we went ahead and we discussed the plans for Big Truck Day,
Mhm.
the ADA improvement grant, the ADA grievance procedure, which we'll talk about later tonight. Old business, quite a few things. And then the new business, again, conflict of interest training reminder.
Mhm.
And then Alexis will ask the town clerk's office to place her as the chair on all websites facing the public. And then we adjourned at 7:39. So any comments or edits for the document? I'll be happy to go to that section. Roger?
Just one. On Big Truck Day number 4,
Okay.
the second to last line, Mike Kennedy from the Center for Living and Working.
And I go backwards on that for some reason.
Mhm. Oh, good
Thank you.
catch. And then I had just one, which is you had the wrong date for this meeting. At the bottom. For our next meeting, unless you
Oh.
corrected it.
May 14th.
May 14th.
Yeah.
Roger will know I had a minor panic attack a week ago.
I know. Isn't that funny? Yeah.
You thought it was
Oh my
last
God.
week. You thought it was last week, and I was like, no. But then I kind of procrastinated. Like, yeah, all right, I'll need some assistance. And I'm like, oh my God. So,
It's all right. I think we're working it out.
well, I think the good thing is that there are many recurring items, and so anytime we're creating an agenda and we have the prior agenda's Word document, it's not a major ordeal. It's not like we're recreating everything from scratch. So,
Yeah, it wasn't too onerous.
No.
But thank you for your assistance, Roger.
You're welcome.
I know I'm going to be calling on you.
Yeah. Well, we had gotten together and we kind of put our heads together to,
Yeah.
sometimes if you look over the last couple sets of minutes, Um, you know,
Yeah,
this kind of is like, I don't know if we have an official punch list, but, we do our best.
So we jumped to the minutes and screen sharing. I apologize. Would Alexis, if you want to ask anyone who would like to make a motion?
can I ask for a motion to accept the minutes from the April meeting?
I make the motion.
Do we have-
Second.
Mr. Berger, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I need to do a roll call for that. Is everybody in agreement? Paul?
Yes.
Okay. Christy Proctor?
I agree.
Roger Trahan?
I agree.
Bob Berger?
Burger eye.
Alexis Henry, I.
Perfect.
Great. All right. Christy, if you're good, can I be host again? So I
You're
can,
already a host. I already made you host.
thank you. All right,
Yep.
let me try sharing my screen again. Okay. So do we know this, the next item is the MOD ADA improvement grant. Do we have any update about whether that, if they are going forward to resubmit the grant application? I have not yet written a letter of support. Happy to do that. It would be good to get the one that was written last time. Did Rob write a letter the last time? Anybody know? I can't, it
I
may,
have prior, which project was it for?
I believe it was for the counters
yeah, for the counters. Is that what,
in the municipal center.
do we know whether, that's going to be the focus of the application next time?
I think it is.
So maybe,
I have Word documents of various, other projects that we've endorsed through the MOD.
Yeah.
Program, this municipal grant program. And so, I mean, I could throw some Word documents your way for you to
Well-
tweak because they're on letterhead, but you would need a motion and, that provided sufficient detail, but
right, so I'm wondering maybe an easier thing to do is William the one who's going to pull together the proposal?
Absolutely.
Okay, and it's asking for the same thing that he asked for last time?
Absolutely.
You know,
I'm
he
I'm
could
pretty
just,
sure.
if he just want, I can reach out to him if he can just send me the letter that Rob did and I'll update it. Cause if it's the same, it's essentially the same proposal, that letter that we have from before should suffice with a little bit of updating.
so when was that?
Well, it's been within the year or so, wasn't it? Was it a year ago?
Well, okay, so I took over chair in June. I mean, I relinquished it in June, right? Or was it in May? It was it's the first meeting after. No, is it the first meeting of the fiscal year?
It would have been an October submission or September submission, so it should have been a letter written in July or August, Roger. I remember you talking about it.
Okay.
Roger, did you write the letter? Or did Rob write the letter?
Well, that's when it
Um,
was under Roger, but I'm sure Rob had the same timeline because the timeline didn't switch till this year.
Right.
Right.
I'm just looking to see whether I have.
I mean, I don't mind emailing William Blake and asking him, do you have that letter before? Can just, and I don't think we have, I don't recall seeing it in our email. I mean, I don't recall seeing it. I remember the discussion about it, but I don't recall ever seeing the letter. And I don't think I have a copy of it unless it's sitting in an email.
I think I'm actually not seeing you folks. I was looking on my own desktop. The last letter that I wrote was March 20th. It was an endorsement letter for Norcross Park. It was a CPC request.
Mhm.
That's the last one I wrote.
thought Rob wrote this letter.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah.
And I can go back and look, Alexis.
Okay, if you, Christy, if you would look for it, and if
Yeah.
you have it, great, and if not, I'll just ask Bill to send it to me and I'll update it.
Okay,
That should be pretty easy. Right?
Yep.
Okay. That doesn't need a motion, does it?
no,
Christy, ADA
Yes.
grievance procedure. I put everything that you
right.
said just right into the agenda.
Yeah, that's fine. So, so here's the scoop on this. This is an update, not of content or process. It's an update on how the content is accessed and how we can have people with different communication needs access the form or a way to bring their complaint forward. So this tries to look at all the different sensory barriers and tries to think of ways to form a solution. So when you go to the website now, if you click on the link, it brings you to a page that's what I call a stagnant page. It doesn't have HTML, it's a PDF.
Mhm,
There's no screen reading ability. And it's
mhm,
okay to have a PDF, but as long as you have other means of accessing the information at the same time.
mhm,
So I really put on the thinking hat about ways we could create access to this. Now, is there a, let's back up just a little bit. Is there a big need to have a grievance procedure based on the occurrences or the frequency? Maybe not, but if and when the need comes forward, we should have it in an accessible format.
mhm,
So I put down 3 suggestions. One is on the AAC website.
mhm,
We create a link to an online form, and that form could be made in Microsoft Forms or Google Forms, whichever form you'd like to think about using for whatever the town uses. And then that form would go to, it would either populate an Excel spreadsheet or a Word doc, and that would be accessible to Bob and his staff. Okay, because
mhm.
they're the ones who are charged with the compliance in this matter. The other thing is just to print out, the good old fashioned hard copy and have it available for anyone who visits the municipal center and wants to fill out a form.
Mhm.
Then the other item is to post a link to the PDF. That way people could see the PDF, the digital link could be there, and they could click on it, open it on their own computer system, and then print it out on their own printer, fill it out at home, and then bring it in, or they could mail it. And then last but not least, have a number to call the ADA compliance officer or his staff. Bob, I'm not sure how many people that would include. And they could file the complaint form or grievance verbally, and Bob or someone else would walk the person through the form's fields and ask for that information, with the understanding that all information is kept confidential and will be recorded. And then that would then start the process of the days. It would start the calendar or the clock, as we say. Okay, so the other piece that's not really ADA, but it's just a question I had for everyone as I'm going through this, because I do this at work. Should we consider creating the form in different languages? That's all. Again, sometimes it's best to be as inclusive as possible when you start working on these things, so you don't have to go back and change things so often. So those were the suggestions. Again, nothing is changing on the content whatsoever.
I think these ideas for, putting them on our webpage are good. you know,
Bob,
that.
Bob, what did you think as you read this? Do you think this is overkill?
No, I'm not gonna say it's overkill. I'll tell you, I've never had a complaint, an ADA complaint in the, 20 years that I've been there. Of course, I'm only dealing with employees, and whenever we have to make accommodations, we go and we make whatever accommodations we have to make. So,
No, that makes sense. And like I said, it's not because there's a great need for this. Again, there's not a lot of traffic being driven to create this in different forms, but I think that it serves as a good model that we have the different formats for people to access the information. And if anyone were to say, well, you don't have a complaint because someone who's whatever can't access it because of the barrier of the form, we can say, no, we actually have various formats for the
oh,
form.
no, I
Yeah.
agree wholeheartedly. You need a standard operation procedure for everything.
Right,
And
So-
that's what this is doing. It's laying it out.
right.
Now,
So
do you
it-
need it in different languages? I don't think you do, but
Okay.
that's really up to the board. And I don't know how many languages you want to put it in.
Or we could put it linked to Google Translate and then they could use any language.
That's right. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Rod?
What about the city of Worcester when you go to
Yeah.
the
that's
form
another thing.
section? Is that like a built-in type of thing where I don't know if it's in real time or someone actually manually took the effort to translate every form, or is it an AI tool? When you go on
No,
the city of
they have
Worcester,
they have full-time interpreters on staff. Every meeting, everything they do, there are Spanish interpreters throughout their city. It's an unbelievable workforce that they have to make
no, I'm
sure.
talking about like 10 languages or more that, excuse me, that when you go to various tabs of like the whole website, you can pick a language. It seems it has an AI feel to it.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if that's a program that's built in that when you click on it, it just seems instantaneous. In with the number of languages that are offered to click onto,
mhm.
if it's being done manually by staff, it must be a massive staff because of the number
Can't
of
be.
languages.
It can't be. It's gotta be done with AI.
Yeah, that has to be done with AI, but I can tell you from the school's point of view, every time we present, there's always an interpreter in the classroom. There's always an interpreter in the meeting. There's interpreters flying all over that district.
So, but
I-
it sounds like, oh, go ahead, Paul.
I have a question. Say a person goes to the town hall and requests a copy of this form that they're going to fill out. Once it's filled out, to whom do they send it? And how do they expect to get response?
It goes to the ADA officer in the town of Grafton.
Okay.
Is that you, Bob?
Yes.
So
Oh,
you would
joy, huh?
deal with an ADA grievance or if a town resident raised an ADA complaint around some sort of town function or accommodations or public, it would come to you.
If they're looking for accommodations, like if there's a planning board meeting and they're hard of hearing and they want an earpiece,
Mhm.
then they could fill this form out, or they call, and I've been always pushing it to the select board's office for anything that's town related that they're working on, or
Right.
they call the planning board. or whatever department they're working in to see if they can get those accommodations in whatever rooms we're in. We have not had, for public meetings, we have not had the request of interpreters or, for sign language or English to Spanish. We haven't really had that yet. But that would be more of calling the department and asking for those special accommodations. Here, I would think that they asked for them and they didn't receive them, and now that's their grievance.
Okay, all right.
So
So
those were two separate
after you
items.
after you request and you don't get it, then you grieve.
That's how I'm interpreting this.
Okay.
Christie, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that there's two things that work in doing this sort of thing. One is that, I mean, Bob has this grievance procedure, and the whole state has pretty much the same grievance procedure, right, Bob, in terms of timelines and things. And we're being consistent with it. Some people choose not to bring forward a complaint. They choose to walk away. There's a lot of different reasons for that. But I think being as accessible as possible, could it land us a new complaint? Yeah, but that would be great because that means our form's accessible. Maybe someone didn't see it as accessible before. I don't know. The point isn't that we have complaints or don't have complaints. The point is that if there were to be a complaint, that people would be able to get the information to the proper place, which is to Bob.
Right.
Without it going to the TA or going, to us even. We want to make sure this is done correctly and we share the correct information. And I think this will help. I'm not going to say that this will give Bob more business. He's not necessarily looking for it, but the fact that we're making things more accessible in small steps is a big step forward. And then what I'd really like to say is that, whomever, each department has forms that they have, that they would try in their attempt to make things more accessible, have it in different formats as well.
Mhm.
And I do get complaints. I have a complaint sitting on my desk right now. And I'll share the complaint. Somebody restriped a private parking lot for, a strip mall. And they didn't put in handicap accessibility spaces. So that's a constant complaint.
Mhm.
So, I get a note, I only get a note with the person who complained and the address, and then I have to call the owner of the building and say, you just striped your building and you just violated CMR 521. You have to get your guy out there, restripe it and give us the proper handicap spaces with the aisles, and you may need van and signage.
Mhm.
That's a typical complaint we get 5 times a year.
Mhm.
And you know what? Thank goodness that's all it is. I know for people who, for transportation reasons, that's a big deal.
Mhm.
But can I tell you, there are other towns in this Commonwealth who would love to only have 5 complaints a year.
I know. Yeah, we're pretty good in this town.
Okay, so
So Bob, I mean, I don't know if we make a motion, if we think about this a little bit and come back to it next meeting. I mean, we can take action. I'm just, again, I'm just bringing this forward as a means to update things. And to be honest with you, this is a bigger conversation with the town at large. I don't know, Bob, if you can say we're only going to have our grievance procedure like this, but it does kind of start opening Pandora's box that everything should be done this way.
mhm.
I don't know if we have to ask for select board permission to change. I mean, it is our website. We should be able to do it, right?
Right, what I think we should do, and when I say we, I'm really looking at you. Can you come back and give us a hard copy so we can see what that form looks like?
Yeah, and then I'd also like to show you how there are different types of screen readers that could work for this, but not the current scanned PDF that's on the website.
Mhm.
So I'd be happy to share that and show you different free screen readers and how it could work.
And some hard copy, forms that
Okay.
I see. Number 2, create a hard copy
Mhm.
form. I'd like to see that
Yes,
because that would be, and I could put that on the building department's webpage also.
And I think what I would try to do, and if you could tell me if you want it to be a Google form or a Microsoft form or something, I would make the form on that platform and then make a printable version. That's how I would make the hard copy. So that everything looks as consistent as possible in each format and nothing looks strange. We want to create similarity and equity across all the forms for
Mhm.
consistency's sake. And maybe each form needs to have a Grafton seal or emblem on it. I don't know.
Well, let's just talk about one more thing then. We could, in OpenGov, that is our permitting software, create this form that they fill out, and that's how they could report it.
I have no idea what that is. The
We have,
Gov
online permitting.
Oh,
We have online, music. We have everything you want to apply for land use is now online.
So we would create the form using that platform, using that.
Well, we could,
program.
but what I think we have to do is work backwards. Because I think
Yep.
I need the hard copy, and once I get a hard copy, I can convert that hard copy with what your vision is into a form in OpenGov. And then if somebody wants to submit a grievance, then they would go onto our portal, and then they could click, create a grievance, and then it would look just like the hard copy.
so
And then
Bob,
then they could submit, and
Yeah.
then certain people get notified automatically. And that's a great way of tracking things because I'm into the database. You get data in and you can get reports out.
okay, so it will catalog it in forms.gov and then you have it as a database. So if I make the hard copy, can I bring it by before our next meeting?
Yeah, you can email it to me.
Well, I have to drop off that form that says I'm willing to serve another term as a commission member, I guess.
Okay.
So I have to do that in person, I guess. So, but anyways, yeah. So
Christie, do you want to email it to everybody? So we can all,
is that okay if I email it to everyone? I
and
can
then
do that.
have it as an agenda item for our
Yep.
next meeting? Yeah, why not?
So I'll do a plain text version as well as a Word with HTML as a document as well. I won't do it as a PDF. I'll be happy to do that.
Okay.
And again, the content pretty much is the same, no matter what. I'll leave off the emblem, but I'll try to tag and make it as accessible as possible.
And then I'll see what I can do in our permitting software.
Okay.
Great, and then we can talk about the various locations where we make the form available. It could be on our page, hard copies in the municipal center, but maybe other places someone might want to submit a grievance, but not necessarily go to the ACC page to do it, right? Should it be someplace else?
well, some may want to just go to the town hall.
Well,
get a
right, a
hard
hard
copy.
copy or do it online, there maybe have a couple of, at least 2 different places on the town website where you could look for this.
But you realize if we're gonna go this step and have it online, even if they submit a hard copy, somebody has to do the data input to get it into the database. Because
Right,
the goal of a database is for tracking
right.
and reporting.
So if someone, in the other examples, Bob, if somebody wants to fill out a form for something else through your, is it always online or are there?
Nope, you have
options
to
do
accept
hard-
paper. You have to accept paper. So
Yeah.
if somebody wants to submit a building
Right.
permit on paper with 100 pages, we have to input those 100 pages or scan whatever plans that they're submitting or whatever the project entails.
So for a point of clarification, just so I wrote this down because I'm thinking and writing at the same time about this. It's forms.gov online platform. Is that the right way to say it?
Well, it's our permitting software that's
Okay.
cloud-based, which is OpenGov.
Okay.
OpenGov, not FormGov. Thank you.
Yep, OpenGov.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, good. I think we have some actions for next time. Do we need a motion for anything? I don't think so, but I just want to make sure.
No, we don't.
No,
Okay,
this sounds good. This is good. So we're
Great.
tabling it for now. It will be on the agenda for next time.
Yep.
No motions, no actions. Perfect.
Yep. Okay. Down to old business. The Grafton Common, that parking space that we heard a complaint about, I'm gonna tell you, it's worse. I walked by there the other night. I walked by there last night. Seems like it's even more degraded.
I have not had a chance to talk to Paul Canoyer about that.
Okay,
I gotta find him.
okay. Just wanted to let people know that I walk by there often and I looked at it yesterday and I thought, looks even worse than it's looked before.
All
So-
right, I have a question on that.
Yeah,
So my initial thought is that the short-term fix could be if we restripe a different spot and then take that completely offline in the interim. Isn't part of the issue also that there's a utility, I don't know if it's gas or water or something, there's a metal, and it's also broken off, it's capping.
mhm,
Whatever utility is coming out of the ground there, that this is not a short-term fix, that you know, the sooner the better. It's possible that, maybe Paul or someone else could possibly restripe a different non-accessible space and make that the accessible space. Probably be taking 2 spaces because you need the access aisle, but I don't see that issue with the dip in the utility coming out of the ground, that particular space is going to get fixed anytime soon.
I think one problem is if you move it, that space is right next to the entrance into the common. Do you know what
Uh-huh.
I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
right next to where there's access to the common.
Right.
But
I will work on it with Paul Canoyer.
okay. All
And
right,
I'll report back to the committee.
great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, banner for our website, and it says
AC.
sorry. What's the ACC?
It's an athletic conference.
The AAC,
Committee.
sorry. That's on me, and that error is on me too, so. And I have not done anything, and I speak to William Blake about that? I'm asking that question. Who do I talk to about that?
William Blake
William Blake, all things William Blake.
for the webpage, absolutely.
Okay. I will talk to him about that. Sorry for that typo. That's on me. Okay, Big Truck Day update. Big Truck Day is coming up.
So I
I
can
will-
tell you
Oh,
that
I'm
I
sorry.
have reached out to Deb again. I reach out to her once a month, and I'm sure between now and then I'll hear from her. I saw them, let's see, I saw them April 27th. And we asked the handler if we were if they were coming to our event, and they weren't sure. So hopefully, as time gets closer, again, it could be a hot day. There could be a lot of reasons why dogs do or don't come. It's also a
Right.
short event. It's only 10 to 12. We'll see what we get. But just to let you know, I've not received any confirmation that I have a dog coming. That's it for me.
Gotta get the dogs.
Yeah.
And Roger, we have a car coming?
I will remind Mike Kennedy again. He said he was going to be here. He said, "Well, please remind me." So
Does he have
I
a
will-
dog?
what was it?
Does he have a dog?
No, he has a vehicle, a modified vehicle.
See if we can get two in one shot.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, anything else on that? How about moving on to National Night Out? We have a little more time for that, but
Conflict of interest training.
Oh,
no, no, that was
I
that-
was
no.
jumping to
No. A play. No, I'm sorry. I
National
was
Night
out
Out.
of. Yep. Yeah. That whole cardboard cutout at the library for the Barbie thingy, that was
Mhm.
dismantled for lack of storage space. It was like tossed out. It was like disassembled and discarded. So
Okay.
that whole picturama is not available.
Okay. Well, maybe we have time to think about something else to engage. It's a little post Barbie, I'm just saying. Anyway.
I know we've got to figure out the next new trend.
Yeah. It's, last year was Barbie. Last year
This
was
year might be Taylor,
Barbenheimer.
but Taylor's kind of getting old too. So
Yeah.
Star Wars
Like
never
if we
gets
could
old.
get Taylor Swift here, that would probably be a big draw, but.
Star Wars. Let's think
Right-
about what's
right now
accessible
it's,
with Star Wars.
The latest thing is Fall Guy. Is becoming a big thing.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine what we could do with that. It originally was a TV series years ago. Now they
Yeah.
made a film of it. So,
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet.
Well,
no.
it is the 30th anniversary of Friends. We could do something with Friends. I don't know. Just thinking.
Yeah. Maybe
We have
we'll
a
try
little
to
more-
all come up with an idea for our next
Well,
meeting.
Okay.
So
That's our homework.
I'm wondering if so we last year had a stack of coloring things, and
Mhm.
but what we could certainly repeat that, but what I overlooked was they were only the thin crayons, you know what I mean? And I'm wondering if the thicker crayons, which aren't, that may be easy to grasp for some people, may not be
Yes.
the better choice to add or to include, not to be necessarily in place of, but didn't occur to me until after the fact that big crayons versus the thinner ones, that would have been beneficial to include.
Mhm.
And then yeah, I liked what does accessibility mean to you? Remember the
Mhm.
little
Mhm.
the sticky
Mhm.
that went over well.
I'm wondering if so it's in the parking lot, right, of the where will it be?
Police station,
Huh?
Will,
police
Will
station
the,
and the cable studio.
Okay, so the same parking lot.
okay,
From,
will the local access station be broadcasting, and could they do mobile broadcasting from various areas of the event?
No, they sit in one spot right in front of their doors
right,
and people come to them.
But the good thing is it's an accessible spot. It's ground level.
Oh, yeah, the whole building is accessible.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great building.
I'm just wondering if we could do some kind of accessible game, like, and I'm not thinking of it, but, of one, but, I'm thinking of beanbag toss or hopscotch or, just Roger, something that would be a little. And I don't know accessible versions or include of those kinds of things, but sort of a simple outdoor thing.
Couldn't we demonstrate the difference between the difficulty with stairs as opposed to a ramp?
This is for the kids.
Yeah,
Right,
isn't-
exactly.
I don't think the kids will be thrilled about that.
No, but they might find it interesting to note the difference in terms of their feet working it.
Yeah, but they're 5 years old to 10. Just trying to think of something that we can entertain them. That's
Well, how about this? How about this? I'm on Instagram with a bunch of different connected to and follow a bunch of different wheelchair professional tennis players. Not that we get the pros in here, but I can only imagine that there may be some local people who, if we reserve one or both courts, to introduce people to that, yeah, there is such a thing. The only difference being that 2 bounces, and as long as you can get to it on the second bounce, regardless of where you are, the volley continues. And so a lot of people don't even realize that wheelchair tennis is a thing.
I didn't know it was.
Yeah, the tennis courts, if you go on YouTube, yeah, it's some amazing athletes. And so basically finding a way that if we could reserve one or both courts, maybe the second court for spectators, but reserve those through the school.
a great idea.
Thank you. And then
Yeah.
look online for who, whatever local wheelchair tennis clubs there are, to say, hey, you know what? Here we are. Now the question being is, I'm assuming that the courts are accessible. I know that one of the courts is farther away from the accessible parking spots than the other, one of the doors, but I think they're both accessible, right? Yeah.
They have to be. I know that there's steps, and I know one of the steps is painted yellow because it's a different height. But they have to be accessible because the building was built in
Right.
under me.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that we made everything accessible. Just, I
Right.
don't know where the route is.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that the route actually is in the
Parking lot.
yeah, in other words, you have to cross over from the parking lot to the upper
Yeah.
the upper gate
Kinda go
closest to the
around.
building.
Could we ask one of the members of a team of that sort to come and look at the facility?
Yeah. We could. So that's just a thought. I think people in that way it gets people kind of spread out a little bit, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
walking back and forth and traversing back and forth, however people traverse. And yeah, people, excuse me, before the high school was built, we used to have the state helicopter land, state police helicopter. There was a dog, running back and forth that we also used to see at Tufts. But because that space is so tight now, the sort of entertainment value has been a little bit diminished. So I think, yeah, that the education and entertainment value would, I think, be very beneficial.
Mhm.
So, but I would have to Google, yeah, wheelchair tennis in Massachusetts.
Is there a basketball court there too?
There actually is.
That's,
Maybe
but it's
wheelchair
too
basket-
far away.
It is.
Is
It's
it?
all the way at the front.
It's all the way
Yeah.
at the front.
Or can have a couple basketball players there, but not at the basketball court, just in the parking lot that we could cordon off, and then they could be dribbling back and forth
Sort
and
of
passing
demo.
between each other.
Yeah,
But I like the idea of a tennis match.
yeah. I mean, it is,
Cool.
does the date coincide with the Olympics or the Paralympics?
That's gonna be in July.
Is it?
I
I know
believe
it's gonna
so.
be in Paris, but is it July?
I think so.
I don't know, out of
Well,
the date.
let's have an Olympic theme for our booth this year.
Yeah, I mean that, what a. Yeah. Paris Olympic dates. Let's
That's
see.
not a
So,
bad
yeah.
idea too.
July 26th to August 11th.
Yeah,
Ooh,
And
There
then
are
we could
dates.
actually have a poster of who started the Special Olympics.
true.
Yeah, maybe like, yeah, I mean, that kind of would be a sort of this sports,
That could
I
be the
have-
theme.
multiple sports
I have a
theme.
really good friend who's very involved in Special Olympics, one of my former students. He's now an announcer for Harvard hockey and a few other things. I mean, we could ask, he's kind of a name around here because,
Yeah.
you know, but I could ask a few of my, we also have Ryan Dixon from Shrewsbury. He's in the Special Olympics Hall of Fame for bocce ball and basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could ask them to come. We could, like our VIP celebrities, or maybe even ask Special Olympics to table with us and recruit
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, there's also, I won't remember his name, but he was a classmate of my son's who was a runner, who
Oh,
I,
Chaz.
Chaz.
His name's Chaz.
He's out in
Chaz,
Colo-
right.
Yeah, he's out in Colorado though.
Oh, is he? I was gonna say, is he, I was gonna say, is he running? Maybe?
Yeah, he did the Boston Marathon,
Yeah, no, but I
and he won
didn't
the
know whether
Grafton
he had
Road
made it
Race.
to the Olympics.
Yeah, he did the Grafton Road Race and won last week.
Oh,
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
oh, jeez.
well, he knows that road race so well.
Yeah, I know, no, I
Everyone grew
know.
up running,
Chaz,
yeah.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, but he did do the you're right, he did do the Paralympics
mhm.
4 years ago. I don't know if he's doing it this time.
So should we just approach the tennis players and the basketball players?
I think we have a plan now.
Yeah, I kind
So-
of like the Olympic theme,
Yep.
Olympic, Paralympic. Did you know, I mean, even if somehow we just highlight, what's going on at the Olympics or the Paralympics or this, I mean, Paralympics, Special Olympics are obviously different, but the timing is good.
Yes.
And unless any of us are going to Paris, of course, I know I'm not. Too bad.
So, I did find South Coast Wheelchair Tennis Foundation, Attleboro, they have adults and juniors age 5 to 18.
Yeah,
And so even if there is no immediate local organization, you can only imagine that there may not be local players that may travel there to compete and play. And so there's a gentleman by the name of Thomas Dodd. So I do have an email and a phone number. So I'm going to reach out
okay.
without any objection to reach out to Mr. Dodd to inquire about local players, provided the court is available. So I guess I could reach out to the school department too.
Awesome.
Good.
Thank you.
All right, we got a theme. Okay, conflict of interest training. Just reminding everybody to do theirs if you haven't.
I just want to share with everyone that I didn't do it.
I did do it,
I need
and
to
it
do
takes a
that.
little while, so
I haven't done it either, I don't think.
set some time aside.
It was a good 90 minutes last time I did it. It
Yeah,
was like,
it takes some time.
yeah,
You get a certificate. And who do we send the certificates to?
Town clerk.
Town clerk, okay. I have mine. Don't you, didn't we have to do it when you joined the commission? Paul, did you do it? I seem to,
I did something when I first joined and I don't remember what it was, but I know
Okay.
it was a lot of forms and stuff.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
All right, just, okay, new business.
Or
We,
actually, old business.
oh, any other
r-
old business, sorry.
Yeah, Alexis, you're still not listed as chair.
Okay,
Rob's name has been removed, but you're
okay,
still not listed as chair.
okay.
And I thought the minutes of our last meeting said that you were going to email the town clerk.
Yeah, I'll do that.
There's
Yeah.
a form that you can fill out.
Oh, okay,
So I think what you do is you have to get in touch with the town clerk, ask for that form, fill it out and submit it.
okay,
I think they need the form before they change it.
okay. All right. All right, I will reach out to them tomorrow.
See if I can try to find it.
Yeah. If you have it, you can send it to me. If not, I will reach out. Okay. If there's no other old business, just moving on to new business. We got a packet on the request for comments on the proposed project at Snow Road. Did everybody take a look at that?
Oh, I can't believe it.
What don't you believe?
I can't believe that in the middle of a house, a neighborhood, they're putting in multi-density, it looks pretty dense to me, apartments.
Well, you got the housing authority right across the street.
I just worry about that intersection between Snow Road and Worcester Street.
I'm gonna go down Brigham Hill Road. I'll just avoid it.
I hate for the people who live on it.
Oh.
The people who live on Snow Road or have to turn onto Snow Road or the 288 units or whatever it is.
And Bob, they'll be required to put sidewalks in to CVS and Stop and Shop.
That's probably, they're not required to, but that's probably gonna be part of the site plan.
Yeah,
I would hope so.
It's 14 acres, I think.
Yeah, the lot is big. Is there gonna be another road on the other side? Like
No.
to get, is there any way to, it's so everything will dump to Snow Road?
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad for anyone who has to come out of Wheeler in the morning
Yeah.
already. You know what I mean? I'm just concerned about congestion.
I know.
Like someone said, I think Alexa said on Worcester Road right there.
It's a hairy intersection, I think, pulling in with the traffic coming. If you're coming to down Snow Road, trying to turn onto Worcester Street,
Oh, yeah.
sort of oncoming traffic from your right.
I think they're gonna have to close off that opening that comes into right in front of CVS.
Mhm.
And then everyone will probably have to go to the light as one way. But so as far as the units, were we talking about Alexis, the request for comments regarding both the sidewalks and the units as far as accessible and adaptable units, or?
It's unclear to me. I mean, I looked at it, there's a comment period, right? Bob,
I didn't hear you. What was the question?
yeah, I did not read enough to know the details about which and how many units and in what form any units may be accessible. But
So
are we at that
I did the
point?
walkthrough.
Go ahead.
I did the walkthrough. They just got approval through Boston. They have to go in front of the zoning board of appeals because this is part of the LIP program. I think they are 4 buildings? 4 stories?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just,
Some are townhouses, some are like apartments, right?
I didn't get that. I thought they were just 4-story apartment buildings. I could be wrong. I can try to look that up, but I don't know what this board is gonna be commenting on, other than, you know, they'd like to have sidewalks, because we don't know what the interior of all the buildings are gonna be. We know from, you know, me doing the plan review, that
Mhm.
some of them are gonna be type A or type 1 and type 2.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have to be handicap accessible immediately, because that's the difference between 1 and 2. They have to be ready to be with the blocking, and some of them have to have wider openings to maneuver wheelchairs and walkers. And that's all gonna be part of the building department's plan review.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what this board is going to comment on right now.
Right. I just put it on the agenda because we got the document.
Right.
We got the notice, and I thought we could discuss, you know, whether we should all read it thoroughly. Should we be planning anything?
I have a question.
We're listening.
Yes,
Oh, I was waiting for to be
Roger,
recognized.
go ahead.
All right. So under this local initiative program, or LIP, okay, I guess the idea of enticing us to do all this is that, except for this very certain state mandates that remain in place, that there was more leverage for the cities and towns to infuse certain things that they wanted. And that could,
Anything
it-
that they want.
so here's my thought. What I would like to see is, or ascertain, is whether or not the number of the A1 and 2 units, whether we have any leverage or any ability under the LIP program to actually ask that more units than this typical state requirement, to have more units be either accessible or adaptable. You know, those A1, 2 units, whether or not the LIP allows us to create a stricter or more, you know, generous toward those needing access into the requirements.
You could, that could be your comment, and that comment would be negotiated through the representative of the selectman, or the select person who is appointed to work with, but I don't know if they already have done that negotiating.
Oh. So, all right, so that is one thing, but notwithstanding whether the negotiation has been done, the question is that is the type of accessible units within our purview to create a stricter standard, or is that one of the areas? I guess there's certain things that, certain minimums that have to stay in place, and we can't be any more lenient. But is the number of those types of accessible and adaptable units, is that on the table for us to negotiate? If the negotiation hasn't been done, regardless, is it something that we could do?
Not us as a board, but as a town, yes.
Right, as a town. So,
Yes.
and if the negotiation if we could do it as a town, and the negotiation has been done already, I'd be disappointed that we weren't notified before the negotiation. But maybe I'm jumping ahead of myself. Do you know who the select board rep is?
I don't know. I know one of them was Mr. Mead.
Okay,
I know he was on one of them.
okay,
So
Right.
you could reach out and ask.
all right. Well, I'd reach out to the chair or,
Yep, Matt, yep.
yeah.
Bob, what's the minimum number? In a
Can't
development,
answer it.
huh?
I can't answer that without the book in front of me.
Okay,
It's just
it
a
like a
number I don't have
percentage?
in my head. No,
Yeah,
it's a number. It's not a percentage, it's a number.
okay. Okay, but is the number based on the overall number of units? So like if you're having 200 units, you need X number of accessible, adaptable
Yep,
units.
Sort of like parking spaces, I guess.
absolutely.
Okay,
Uh,
all right. I mean, it may be in there. Truth be told, I did not read the entire packet. But we all have it, so. People
So how
can.
can we comment?
Well, there is an open comment period upcoming.
When is that?
Well, I'd have to go and search it out.
Did you give us that document?
I did not, because it's actually a link to the, I can send, did you all, am I the only one who got it? I doubt it, right? I'm assuming I'm not the only one who got it.
I'm wondering if everyone on a board or committee got it.
I think that was, let me see if I can.
Or it was sent to the distribution list for every town board. And so maybe I did get it and I was like, oh, okay. I maybe kind of kicked the can down the road.
The comment period has not happened yet, Paul.
Okay.
If I can forward on what I received, but I assumed everyone, I thought it went to the AAC.
Mhm.
So maybe we can, I'd have to dig through I'm sorry, I don't have it open right now. I can look for it. I just don't want to lose you all on my first night. This
You're doing a
position.
great job, Alexis.
Thank you,
Yes.
Roger. I just don't want to lose you all. If I go digging for it in my email, but I'll forward it on if people don't have it. But I know, Paul, I do know that the request for comment period has not happened yet. It has not passed. It's upcoming. And there may be information in the packet again. I did not read it in its entirety, but about the number of units that may be accessible or adaptable. Perhaps that's in there already. Would that be in there already, Bob?
It may be.
Okay, so it might be in there. I'll take a look and see if I can find anything. I'm putting on this just recruiting new commission members. Should we say, join our commission? I mean,
Well, I think that, all right, so, when Rob departed the commission, I think there was this, the discussion seemed to center around what I think what I initially thought was an end of term 6/30 of 24, but this is 6/30 of 25. So, and the reason I mentioned that
his
is that
term or,
his term, yeah, in other words, it
yeah,
would be,
uh,
so I'm wondering if we're talking about the remainder of a term that is either
1
approximately,
month.
Pardon?
1 month.
Right, but it's not. I think
Yeah.
if you look at is the vacancy listed on our webpage?
I don't know, but
I'm-
I can check.
I can check right now. I'm on my
Okay.
iPhone. Graftonmass.gov, boards and commissions. Okay, here we are. Committees, accessibility advisory. Okay. Okay, so on that web page, it says, all right, there's one for 2024. Mr. Berge, you have no expiration date as the select board rep.
That's right.
2 and 25, Paul and Alexis. 2 and 26, Catherine Dupuy and myself. And so I guess, bear with me, if I go to, if I go back to, boards and committees, boards and committees page, and how to apply, I think I'm just looking to see, yeah, I just don't want to waste everyone's time here. There's a section that speaks to membership. Okay, here it is. Wait a minute. Boards and committees webpage. There should be a link. Boards and committees information center. Okay, proceed to site. I just want to see if under the vacancy, it says the expiration date. And the reason I mention that is that sometimes people want to test the waters, and if they know they only have to serve a year, rather than be skittish about making a commitment and then leaving in midterm. Okay, 1 vacant term. Okay, here it is. Vacancy. Oh, it says next expiration date 6/30 of 24. Oh, it was 24. Okay.
So you think that was Rob's?
Yeah, because everyone else is named, and so the vacant position is listed as next expiration date. And so I'm thinking to myself that we have a little bit more time than I thought, because it may, coincidentally, his seat was up and then he stepped down, meaning that there's a schedule that when the terms are set to expire, that everyone, even the incumbents, need to reapply for their seats.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Right.
that space, his space, would have been advertised as potentially vacant as a free-for-all to anyone in town anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so it'll be sometime in June at the select board meeting that, it's sort of, it will be advertised with the rest of the vacancies, I would think.
Okay.
And so I really hadn't made any proactive effort to reach out to anyone.
Okay. So the select board publicizes the vacancies on any town commission or committee.
Yes,
Right.
there's a committee information page that will, you can see the membership of every committee. It's alpha search by committee,
Yep.
who the membership is and when their terms expire and whether there are any vacancies. And then there's an interest section where you can
Okay.
either apply or say that if there's an opening sometime, please consider me, and they keep it on file.
Yeah. Christy, do you?
So I sent Roger last month, and I just sent you now, Alexis, a really unique advertisement from the city of or town of Mansfield.
Mhm.
And it says, calling all, and of course we'd say Grafton accessibility advocates. And it's
Mhm.
essentially a job posting for serving on the
yeah.
Accessibility Commission. And it says, are you passionate about access and equity? Do you have ideas on how to improve the experience of those with disabilities in Grafton? And it goes on to say, what is, the AAC? So we explain who we
Mhm.
are, what we do, how often we
Great.
meet. And as
Yeah.
a committee member, you'll be able to do this, and apply by such and such a date.
Yeah.
So it's just an idea for a recruitment flyer. We might want to become a little more proactive instead of
Mhm.
waiting for the select board to advertise an open position.
Right. I love
because
that.
it gets buried with all the other vacancies.
Right. And I mean, I'm assuming that on this commission and others, they're sort of reaching out to people that we know who might be interested in serving. But I like this flyer. This looks great.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah. And we could certainly borrow liberally
Yeah.
from their verbiage.
You don't have to borrow it, just steal it.
Just take it. Just take it.
Striking that
take it.
from the minutes, Bob.
I just emailed the committee the form that you're looking for.
Okay, thank you,
Awesome.
Bob.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that tomorrow. All right, well then, I think, pulling something like that together is a great idea.
Awesome.
Um, Yeah. Good. Okay, and so if it gets announced in June, does the term start in September, or is there a little bit of a lag?
No, 7-1.
Starts 7/1, okay.
So-
Okay, so. Okay, so someone's new, okay.
So one of the things that I'll mention is that because of Rob having stepped down, so it was off cycle that
Mhm.
you stepped in. Typically, all the boards and committees reorganize anyway, their first meeting of the fiscal year.
Okay. All right, well, we can do that at our July meeting. And we may or may not have new members, but I think if any of us know somebody who might be interested in serving, we can let them know that there's a vacancy, right? And there's a process. Okay. I believe our June meeting is June 11th. Is that right? The second Tuesday? Right,
Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to my nephew's wedding in Colorado.
The
So.
Zoom, you can do it.
Safe
could.
flight.
But you know what? I don't think so.
So Alexis, I will say that Catherine as vice chair, if you reach out to her and
Okay,
if she's okay with it, that's cool. If she prefers someone else stepping in, I will do so.
okay.
So so if you would reach out to her,
I can
know
do
that I'm absolutely back up and
Okay.
can create the agenda and meeting pack and all that stuff.
Okay,
Um,
and I'm
Yeah.
fine helping to pull the agenda, I can pull the
Yeah.
agenda together. I just,
yeah,
literally that's the day we're leaving.
Yeah.
So
all right.
we'll be settling into, it's a kind of, my nephew's, I think it's a big wedding. I think that our little family group, we're kind of gonna be the riffraff in the, I think he's married to a very fancy family. So, but we're planning a whole week's vacation around it.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's a good kid. We're all happy for him. And that I think is, I had one other question. So we are coming into the summer and I cannot remember do we have a meeting every month in the summer? I thought I remembered we might have skipped one, but perhaps I'm mistaken.
We could try to have one, but I don't remember ever having intentionally skipped some. I know some committees may consider taking
Skip the
one or
summer.
more meetings off.
I
but
might be confusing this with something else, but I was looking, okay, we're gonna meet through the summer, which is fine, except I won't be here on June 11th.
So I did have a couple of new business items if you'll
Oh,
entertain
sure.
those. So town meeting, we did mention that last night. I think it went well. I would mention that the projector image, too much light, that it was very hard to read the projector on stage. So that was something that I heard people behind me and others voice concern over. And then the other thing too is the clickers, even though they said yes and no, the number one, I think it was like green superimposed on red for the number one. It was the worst, I guess, luminance or contrast you could possibly put together on the voting clickers. But whatever the town was using, it was the number one, it was actually almost non-readable because it was nearly the same contrast or luminance as the main color. Anyone who checked in last night received the town report. So Accessibility Advisory Commission report was in there, looked great, and also looked great in 16 font. It was a 350-page report. When I first moved here or built here in 2000, it was like 120 pages maybe. It's tripled in size. And I just have to say that all the committees and boards that, did all the hard work certainly deserve a shout out, but I would also call particular attention to Cindy Ide in the Select Board Town Administrator's Office, who she basically not only put that thing together, but read every report just for any glaring errors. So she really did an amazing job at putting that together, the sort of all the activity behind the scenes that people don't notice. So I wanted to give a shout out to her. And then lastly, under new business, maybe old business, we've talked about voting before. And that the middle school, which is the old high school, the accessible spots for voting are the ones off to the right when you first come in. And so people would come out and then they would enter through the gymnasium. Okay. And the back of the gymnasium doesn't have any handles on the outside of the doors. I've always found that peculiar, where it is absolutely an exit and there's no handles on there. So they keep the door open. And I think they, and Bob, you may be able to speak to this more, is that it allows those who are exiting, that's their exit if they've come in through the main entrance. And then those people coming in through the accessible entrance, that door has remained open at all times, versus someone on either side opening it for either someone entering or exiting. You actually need a volunteer on either side of the door. Otherwise, it remains open. But then there have been concerns about how cold it gets in that room for the election workers. That coldness hasn't been presented as an accessibility issue, but it certainly isn't comfortable for folks I've spoken with. So I don't know what the answer is. In the absence of handles on doors or an electric door button that opens that door, what else could be done? Because the accessible spots can't be in the fire lane and in the main entrance of the building. That's why they chose the side, right? And maybe that's a Mr. Berger question.
I can't follow that right now, but we can look at it together.
Right. And well, the voting day is next Tuesday, and I don't know what the answer is. In other words, the discomfort from the election workers hasn't been presented as an access issue on their part. And it just seemed at first glance that in the absence of having a volunteer on each side of the door, for it truly to be accessible in the absence of either handles or an electric door opener, you would necessarily need to keep that door open. That just seems to be the sort of default activity to make sure that people can get in from those accessible spots and just enter the building from that, what is usually the exit.
There's no accessible access to the
No,
front
there
door,
is.
isn't it?
No, what it is that you can get there, but there's no curb cut there, and
Right.
and I don't know if you would call that the fire lane. I don't think it's labeled as such, but what happens is that the parking lot, someone would have to move from the parking lot. I don't think there are any accessible spaces.
Right next,
And-
and there's no curb cut up to the curb, so you could go into the door. The front
Correct.
door of
Correct.
the gymnasium building.
So what happens is that there are accessible spots when you first come into that entrance immediately to the right. And so the main entrance is basically the exit to the gymnasium. but those doors don't have any handles on them. And they may be too heavy anyway, even if they did. And so they're kept open. So people can just traverse in and out. And so, but it's, you know, various volunteers have expressed concern about the sort of climate that causes, especially if if it's not a nice warm day.
May not be so much of a problem next week, but it might be a problem in November.
Perhaps. And so maybe it's a larger discussion about,
Yeah.
you know, making those doors accessible from the outside in a more, through some modification in the future. But, I mean, if you want to talk, Bob, about, you know, throw some ideas around between now and then, we can certainly do that. Has it been brought to your attention?
No,
Okay.
no, but why don't we talk next week? Well, we can talk Thursday or Friday of this week.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. And that's the only thing I have regarding new business items.
On that note, I think I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And I'll second.
All right, so I was just gonna ask if there's any other new business items, but I'm guessing the answer is no. All right. So we have a motion to adjourn. I'm gonna take a roll call. Paul Latorno.
Yes.
Okay, Christy Proctor,
Yes.
Roger Trahan,
Yes.
Bob Berger.
Burger, aye.
Okay, Alexis Henry, I.